Welcome, everyone, to our deep dive today. We're going on a journey through the life of Su Shi,
Okay.
a really famous figure from the Song Dynasty in China,
Mm-hmm.
poet, politician, artist, um, you name it, he did it.
It seems like it.
And what's really cool is we have this incredible source that's almost like a biography
Yeah.
detailing his life's journey.
It really is. It's a really unique source.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just the facts and the dates
Okay.
and gives us a glimpse into like what made Su Shi pick.
I like that.
It reveals the why behind the what.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can get to know his personality,
Mm-hmm.
his relationships, and we get a sense of like why he's remained so popular
Right.
throughout history and even today.
It's like having a direct line to the past.
Yeah.
And the goal today is to really get to know this guy, not just the famous name,
Right.
but the human being behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is someone who was imprisoned for his poetry,
Wow.
developed a deep friendship with his political rival,
Hmm.
found peace and purpose in farming, and was exiled multiple times, yet somehow remained optimistic throughout it all.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
How did he do it?
Yeah.
His life is really a masterclass in resilience,
Mm-hmm.
navigating these incredible highs and lows
Right.
with grace and even humor.
Yeah,
We can all learn a thing or two from that, I think.
absolutely. To kick things off, let's rewind to Su Shi's early life.
Okay.
I was reading that he was considered like a literary genius, pretty much from the start.
Yeah.
But he didn't just write beautiful poetry, he actually used his words to speak truth to power, even criticizing government policies.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty bold,
Yeah.
especially for someone just starting out.
It was.
Yeah.
And that unwavering integrity, that
Mhm.
commitment to his beliefs,
Yeah.
that stayed with him throughout his life.
Yeah.
And it ultimately landed him in hot water,
Uh-oh.
leading to what's known as the Wu Tai poetry case.
Okay, hold on. The Wu Tai poetry case.
Yeah.
You got to break that down for me. He was imprisoned for his poetry.
Yes.
Yes.
It all started with this seemingly harmless thank you letter to the emperor
Oh, really?
after receiving a new appointment.
Okay.
You'd think a simple thank you letter wouldn't cause much trouble, right?
Right. What could be controversial about saying thank you? So how did this thank you note land him in prison? I'm struggling to see the connection.
Well, this was during a time of intense political factions and power struggles
Okay.
within the Song Dynasty.
Yeah.
And Su Shi was never afraid to express his opinions, even if it ruffled feathers.
Right.
So his poems, which often critiqued government policy,
Yeah.
became weapons in the hands of his political rivals.
Oh, wow.
They seized upon this thank you letter,
Oh, no.
twisted its words and interpretations, and painted him as a traitor to the emperor.
Wow. So they basically weaponized his own words against him?
Yes.
That feels like such a huge betrayal. Do you think this experience made him more cautious about what he wrote or said publicly?
It's hard to say for sure,
Yeah.
but what's striking is that even during his imprisonment, his spirit didn't break. He ended up in a place called the Wu Tai,
Okay.
which was essentially the imperial palace of prisons.
The Imperial Palace of Prison.
Yes. The source describes it as this really dark, imposing place filled with cypress trees and crows.
Talk about a gloomy setting.
Just the name, Imperial Palace of Prisons,
Yeah.
sends chills down your spine.
Right.
It was this physical manifestation of the fear and suspicion
Yeah.
surrounding Su Shi's case.
Yeah.
You could just imagine the weight of that environment, the
Mhm.
isolation, the uncertainty of his fate.
I bet. But here's where things take an unexpected turn.
Okay.
In the midst of all this political drama, Su Shi gets support from his biggest rival, Huangzhou.
Right.
Now that's what I call a plot twist.
You'd think in the cutthroat world of politics, rivals would just revel in each other's downfall.
Right.
But Wan Anqi, despite their differing political views,
Okay.
he recognized Su Shi's talent and integrity
Yeah.
and went so far as to plead with the emperor for leniency.
Wow.
It's a reminder that even amidst these fierce political battles, respect and human connection can prevail.
It's like those moments in movies where two characters on opposite sides unexpectedly find common ground.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel a little hopeful. But it sounds like the emperor wasn't entirely convinced. Right? Wasn't there something about a sleep test?
Yeah,
That sounds a little out there.
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The emperor was skeptical about Su Shi's intentions.
Okay.
And so to gauge his guilt, he sent someone to observe Su Shi while he was sleeping in prison.
While he was sleeping.
Yeah. The thinking was that if he was truly guilty, his conscience would manifest in restless sleep.
Okay. So was he tossing and turning all night?
Actually, no.
Really?
That he slept like a log. And apparently the emperor saw this as a sign if not of innocence, at least a lack of malicious intent.
Interesting.
And it played a role in his decision to spare Su Shi's life.
Wow. So basically, a good night's sleep saved his life. Talk about an unexpected hero. But even though he wasn't executed, he wasn't exactly off the hook, was he?
Unfortunately, no. He was demoted and exiled to Huangzhou,
Okay.
a really remote and impoverished region far from the capital.
Oh, wow.
Imagine being ripped from your position,
Yeah.
separated from your family,
Yeah.
facing this totally uncertain future.
That's rough.
It must have been a crushing blow.
It's like being thrown into a completely different world, stripped of everything you know. I think most people would crumble under that kind of pressure. But then again, this is Su Shi we're talking about.
Right.
He wasn't the type to wallow in misery, was he?
Not at all.
Yeah.
He took this setback and he turned it into an opportunity for
Yep.
reinvention.
Right.
And that's where we see his incredible resilience shining through. He had to find ways to support his family.
Uh-huh.
So he embraced a new way of life.
Farming.
Farming. That's a pretty dramatic shift from being a high-ranking official and renowned poet. I'm guessing it wasn't an easy transition.
All right. It wasn't. He had to learn everything from scratch. And the source mentions that he used this clever budgeting method.
Oh,
The string of coins.
Carefully portioned out for each day's expenses.
That's smart.
This picture of resourcefulness, finding a sense of order amidst the chaos.
Right. It's like that old saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly.
He had to get creative. But he didn't do it all alone, right? I read about his friend Ma Mengde stepping up to help him during this time.
Ma Mengde was a true friend indeed.
Yeah.
He rushed to Su Shi's side, offering not just companionship, but practical support.
Okay.
He helped him acquire some land. It was a piece of former military land.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty much barren.
So basically, starting from scratch.
Yeah.
I imagine it must have been tough to find motivation in that situation. What made him stick with it?
I think this is where we start to see a shift
Okay.
in Su Shi's perspective.
Yeah.
He embraced the simplicity of this new life, finding a rhythm in the daily tasks of farming.
Mm-hmm.
He even adopted the name Su Dongpo.
Su Dongpo.
After the location of his farm. Dongpo meaning eastern slope.
That's amazing. It's like he was shedding his old identity
Yeah.
and embracing this new chapter with open arms. I can't help but think there's a lesson in there for all of us, you know? Finding a sense of peace and purpose, even when life takes an unexpected turn.
I think you're right. He wasn't too proud to learn from local farmers,
Mm-hmm.
even joking about his own lack of skills.
Oh, really?
It's a beautiful reminder that sometimes
Yeah.
letting go of our preconceived notions
Mm.
and embracing the unexpected can lead to unexpected joy and fulfillment.
It's so easy to get caught up in our own ambitions and expectations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Su Shi's story is such a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest rewards come from finding contentment in the simplest things. That as much as he seemed to find peace in his farmer life, his story doesn't end there, does it?
You know, Su Shi, there's always another chapter waiting to be written.
Right.
Just as he was settling into this new rhythm,
Yeah.
the political winds shifted once again,
Oh.
drawing him back into the tumultuous world of court politics.
Oh no. Back into the lion's den. So much for a quiet life on the farm. It seems like he just couldn't escape the pull of public service. No matter how much he craved a simpler existence. What happened that brought him back into the fold?
Well, the death of the emperor
Okay.
and the rise of the Empress Dowager
Okay.
brought about a significant change in the political landscape. The Empress Dowager was known for her sharp intellect and her keen eye for talent.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a particular fondness for Su Shi,
Oh, wow.
recognizing his unique abilities.
So a powerful new ally enters the scene. This sounds promising. Do you think he was excited about the prospect of returning to court? Or was there a part of him that dreaded going back to that world?
It's hard to say for sure what was going through his mind
Mhm.
at that time. But what we do know is that his talents couldn't be ignored. He was quickly promoted, much to the chagrin of his political adversaries,
Right.
who were still lurking in the shadows.
So the drama continues. I bet they were fuming seeing him rise to power once again. But the Empress Dowager on his side, he must have felt a sense of security, right?
You would think so, wouldn't you? But Su Shi was a complex individual.
Okay.
While he appreciated the Empress Dowager's support,
Yeah.
he also yearned for a quieter life, away from the constant scheming and backstabbing
Right.
that came with court politics.
I can't blame him for that. It seems like no matter how successful he became, a part of him always longed for a simpler existence. But, as we'll learn, fate had other plans in store for him.
Exactly. His peace was short-lived.
Ugh.
A new threat emerged in the form of a treacherous minister named Zhang Dun.
Zangda.
Yeah, this guy held a serious grudge against Su Shi,
Okay.
and his rise to power spelled trouble for our protagonist.
Oh, this doesn't sound good. What was the root of this grudge? Why was Zhang Dun so determined to bring Su Shi down?
It was a classic case of jealousy and ambition.
Okay.
Zhang Dun saw Su Shi's success as a threat, and he was determined to undermine him at every turn. He dredged up old accusations, twisted Su Shi's words and actions, and painted him as disloyal to the throne.
So he was basically playing dirty, using any means necessary to get ahead. And I'm guessing this eventually led to another exile for Su Shi.
You guessed it. This time he was banished to Huizhou in southern China.
Oh, wow.
Imagine the heartbreak of another long journey, another separation from loved ones,
Yeah.
another upheaval in his life. It's remarkable how he endured it all.
It really speaks to his strength of character, doesn't it? This constant back and forth,
Yeah.
the ups and downs, the betrayals. You'd think he'd be completely disillusioned by this point. But somehow he managed to find a way to keep going. What was his secret?
That's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive. Even in the face of exile and hardship, Su Shi found ways to contribute to help others
Okay.
and to appreciate the beauty around him. His spirit remained unbroken,
Wow.
a testament to his enduring resilience and optimism.
Well, I'm hooked. I can't wait to hear more about how he navigated this next chapter in his life. Stay tuned, listeners, because we're just getting started.
So as we delve further into Su Shi's exile in Huizhou,
Okay.
what strikes me is that, even though he was officially banished, he became a beloved figure among the locals.
He wasn't just sitting around feeling sorry for himself, then that wouldn't be the Su Shi we're getting to know.
Exactly. He was never one to wallow in self-pity. He actively sought ways to improve the lives of the people around him,
Okay.
even though he was technically in exile. For example, he witnessed how unfair the grain taxes were
Oh.
for local farmers. When grain prices dropped, the government still demanded a cash payment based on the previous higher price,
Wow.
forcing farmers to pay almost double.
That's just adding insult to injury, isn't
Yeah.
it? So what did Su Shi do? Did he just shake his head and say, that's rough?
Not a chance.
Yeah.
He was never one to stand idly by. When he saw injustice, he wrote this really passionate letter to the local magistrate,
Yeah.
advocating for a fairer system. That aligned tax payments with the actual market value of grain.
So he really put his writing skills to good use. But did it work? Did anyone listen to a disgraced official?
They did.
Really?
The magistrate was swayed by Su Shi's arguments and revised the tax policy, bringing much-needed relief to those struggling farmers.
It's amazing how he managed to make a real difference. Even without any official authority. He wasn't letting his exile define him, was he?
Not at all.
Yeah.
He was constantly looking for ways to make things better. He also observed the rice planting process
Okay.
and saw how backbreaking it was,
Yeah.
with farmers constantly bent over in muddy water. And he remembered seeing a contraption called a fuma in Huangzhou, basically a small floating platform
Okay.
that allowed farmers to plant rice seedlings while sitting down.
So like an ergonomic solution for rice planting. What a great idea. I imagine the farmers must have appreciated that.
Absolutely. He championed the adoption of the fuma in Huizhou, demonstrating once again his concern for the well-being of the community.
So it seems like he had this knack for seeing problems and finding practical solutions, even in exile.
He was a true innovator, always thinking outside the box.
Yeah. But it wasn't all work and no play for Su Shi, right? The source mentioned he actually built a house
Yes.
called the White Grain House and planted an entire orchard.
Even amidst the challenges of exile, he created this space for beauty and tranquility. Imagine him surrounded by orange, lychee, pomelo plum, and loquat trees,
Oh, wow.
a vibrant testament to his love for nature and his ability to find joy in the simple things.
It sounds idyllic. It's like he took this difficult situation and found a way to bloom where he was planted. That takes a special kind of resilience, doesn't it?
It really does. He had this incredible ability to find moments of peace and beauty,
Yeah.
no matter where life took him. But of course, knowing Su Shi,
Right.
there's always another twist of fate waiting around the corner. Time it came in the form of a poem about a lychee.
I'm officially intrigued. What happened?
Well, Su Shi, being a major foodie,
Okay.
was delighted by the abundance of fresh lychees in Hainan, a delicacy not readily available in the north.
Right.
He playfully wrote this line
Yeah.
that said, "I have 300 lychees in a day, and I will never quit being a Hainan man."
That sounds harmless enough. Just a poet expressing his love for a local fruit? How did that land him in trouble?
Unfortunately for Su Shi, his words reached the eyes of his nemesis
Oh.
back in the capital, that treacherous minister Zhang Dun.
Ying dun.
And Zhang Dun, being the petty and vindictive soul that he was, took this poem as a personal insult.
Wait, seriously? A poem about liches? That's taking things a bit too far, isn't it?
Remember, Zhang Dun was the one who had orchestrated Su Shi's exile to Su's in the first place.
Right.
Now seeing him seemingly content
Yeah.
and even enjoying the local cuisine just fueled his resentment.
Oh, wow.
And so he decided to punish Su Shi further by exiling him to an even more remote and unforgiving location.
Oh, no. Not again. Hainan Island. I've heard Hainan Island back then. Wasn't exactly the tropical paradise it is today. What was it like during that time?
It was considered this really wild and desolate frontier, known for its harsh climate disease and isolation.
Wow.
It was practically the edge of the known world for the Song Dynasty.
Yeah.
For a man in his 60s,
Yeah.
this exile was a dangerous undertaking full of uncertainty.
It's hard to believe that someone could be subjected to such harsh treatment. Over a poem about lychees, it's a testament to Zhang Dun's cruelty, and frankly, his insecurity.
I agree. But as we'll see, even this unforgiving environment, Su Shi's spirit didn't break.
Wow.
He found solace in the local community who embraced him despite his status as an exile.
It's like they saw past the label of disgraced official and recognized the kind and compassionate person he truly was.
Exactly. When officials tried to make his life difficult, the local people stepped in to help him, providing him with food and support.
That's amazing.
They even helped him build a house. And Su Shi, in turn, continued his pursuit of knowledge. He studied local herbs, even delving into the world of acrobatics manuscripts.
Acrobatics manuscripts. Now, that's something I wouldn't have expected. It seems like he was always learning, always exploring new things.
It speaks volumes about his insatiable curiosity, his ability to find wonder and learning in the most unexpected places, despite all the hardships he faced. He never lost his zest for life.
Right. And as fate would have it, things were about to change once again.
You got it. With the death of the old emperor and the ascension of Emperor Huizhou, a wave of change swept through the court. Huizhou, recognizing the injustice done to Su Shi, granted him a full pardon.
Wow.
After years of hardship and exile, he was finally free to return home.
What a moment that must have been. The feeling of vindication, the joy of returning home. But after all he'd endured, I imagine the journey back was bittersweet.
Su Shi's health had deteriorated during his years in Hainan.
Oh, no.
And as he made his way back north, he fell gravely ill in Huangzhou and was unable to continue. He knew his time was drawing to a close.
That's heartbreaking after everything he'd been through. This is where his final words to his sons become so poignant, right? No resentment, just peace.
Yes, surrounded by his loving sons. He uttered these remarkable words, "I have never done anything evil in my life, nor have I met a single bad person."
Wow, those are powerful words. After all the betrayals and hardships, he held no bitterness in his heart. It's a testament to his incredible capacity for forgiveness and inner peace.
It's remarkable, isn't it? It makes you wonder, how do you go through so much adversity and still emerge with such a positive outlook on life?
That's the question that keeps echoing in my mind. What can we learn from Su Shi's incredible journey? How can we cultivate that same resilience, that same optimism in our own lives? I think that's something we'll be pondering long after our deep dive is over.
I agree. Su Shi's story is a gift. It's a source of inspiration for anyone facing challenges in their own life. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, we can choose hope, we can choose kindness, and we can choose to find meaning and beauty in the world around us.
What an incredible story. I'm so grateful we had the chance to deep dive into the life of Su Shi today. He's a figure who truly deserves to be remembered and celebrated.
I couldn't agree more. His life was a testament to the power of the human spirit, to overcome adversity and find joy, even in the most challenging circumstances.
Thanks for joining us, listeners. We hope you found this deep dive into Su Shi's life as inspiring and thought-provoking as we did. And remember, no matter what challenges you're facing, there's always something to learn, something to appreciate, and something to hope for.
So we left off with Su Shi facing this exile to Hainan Island.
Right, this really harsh sentence.
Like the edge of the world for the Song Dynasty.
Yeah. What was it like for him when he got there?
It was rough. It was such a different world. Hainan back then was nothing like the paradise it is today.
Right.
Intense heat, humidity, unfamiliar diseases. The source makes it sound like this wild place, teeming with life, but dangerous too.
Oh.
Imagine dense jungles, strange creatures,
Yeah.
a climate that could be beautiful one minute and brutal the next.
I bet. That must have been so isolating for him,
It really was.
especially since he seemed to thrive on being around people.
You're right. He talks about that in his writing.
Really?
Feeling like a fish out of water, struggling to communicate, feeling like a child again, having to relearn everything.
Wow. I can only imagine trying to navigate that new world. Must have been a mix of curiosity and fear.
Yeah, but he didn't let it defeat him.
That's the Su Shi we've come to know.
Exactly. And you know what's amazing?
What's that?
Even with all those challenges, he still found ways to connect with the local people.
How so?
He learned their customs, tried their food,
Oh.
even started using local ingredients in his own cooking.
That's so interesting. It's like no matter where he went, he found a way to connect through food.
Food is a universal language, isn't it?
It is. And it sounds like it helped him build relationships.
It did. They saw his kindness, his genuine interest in their culture. They saw past the label of disgraced official
Uh-huh.
and just treated him like a person.
A person who valued community.
Yeah, exactly.
Did that sense of community make a difference in how he dealt with being exiled?
Oh, absolutely. They were a lifeline for him.
In what way?
When officials tried to give him a hard time, the local people stepped up. They helped him build a house,
Wow.
shared their knowledge of medicine, protected him.
That's incredible. They really rallied around him.
They did. And, you know, it's a reminder that kindness can show up in the most unexpected places.
That's for sure. So he found a sense of belonging even in exile.
He did.
But what about his writing and painting? Did he keep those up?
Oh, yeah. He never stopped creating. Some of his most powerful works come from his time in Hainan.
Really?
There's this one poem where he compares the landscape to a painting unfurled by the gods.
I love that. So even in this difficult situation, he was still finding beauty.
He was. He was always observing, reflecting,
Anyway.
finding inspiration everywhere. His writings from Hainan show this deep appreciation for the simple things.
What kinds of things?
The sound of wind in the trees, the taste of fruit, the kindness of strangers.
He sounds very grounded.
He was. He found solace in those simple things, in his art, in his connection to the community.
It's like he discovered a whole new level of resilience, drawing strength from the world around him.
I think so. It makes you think about how we often miss those simple joys in our own lives.
It does. So what happened next?
Well, like I said before, the winds changed in the capital.
Okay.
The new emperor, Emperor Huizhou,
Yeah.
he was a big fan of Su Shi's work.
Oh, wow.
He saw how unfair this exile was and gave Su Shi a full pardon.
So after all those years, he was finally free to go home.
He was.
What a moment that must have been. But do you think he went back the same man after all those hardships?
Oh, I don't think so. Those years changed him.
How so?
He came back with a deeper understanding of human nature, a greater appreciation for the simple things, and even more compassion for others.
Like they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. He didn't just survive exile. He grew from it. He became even wiser and more compassionate.
It's amazing how he didn't let it make him bitter.
I know. It really shows his character. So he went back home.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, his time there was short.
Oh, no.
The years of hardship had taken a toll on his health. He died peacefully in Huangzhou, with his family around him.
That's both sad and beautiful at the same time.
It is. And you know what he said to his sons right before he died?
I'm curious.
I have never done anything evil in my life, nor have I met a single bad person.
Wow. That is powerful. It's like his whole life philosophy summed up in one sentence.
Right. Even facing death, he focused on love and forgiveness.
What a legacy.
It is. It's a reminder to let go of resentment, to be generous, even when life is hard.
Su Shi's story is incredible.
It is full of ups and downs.
Betrayals, moments of peace. But through it all, he showed this amazing resilience and grace. What do you think is the biggest takeaway from his life?
I think it's his ability to find beauty and meaning no matter what.
Yeah.
He showed us that joy can be found in the simplest things.
Right.
That connection is possible even when you're isolated. And that the human spirit can overcome anything.
It's truly inspiring. It gives you hope.
It does. His story reminds us that we have the power to choose how we respond to life.
Well said. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the life of Su Shi. Thank you all for listening. We hope you found his story as inspiring as we did, and that it encourages you to face your own challenges with courage, grace, and a sense of wonder.